Shopping for a laptop that runs on Windows? Don't until you hear from the big W, Walt Mossberg. This is Digits, and my name is George Stahl. Welcome. Today we're going to be talking about shopping for a laptop, and here to talk about it is the man himself, WSJ.com's personal tech guru, Walt Mossberg. How you doing, Walt?
I'm good, George. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. So yeah, a story today in today's paper about the Windows laptops and those that are available right now. Before we get to the two that you reviewed, as a lot of people who watch Digits would know, Microsoft is going to be updating its Windows lineup later in the year. And what your column is about today is about those people who may need a laptop before that October launch date. If you have the benefit of the time, should you wait, or are there attractive deals out there now for people to get these types of Windows laptops?
Well, there may be deals, but I absolutely am advising readers to wait and viewers. And the reason is, first of all, Windows 8 is going to be a radical revamp of Windows, not just a minor one. And secondly, it's going to have a lot of new kinds of laptops and tablets coming out that will run on it, many of which will have touch screens and things. So I think if you can afford to wait, you should give yourself the benefit of at least seeing what's coming. But that's not going to be till really the end of October. And my column today was really addressed to people who can't wait till the end of October. And a lot of those are people going off to, students going off to college for the first time, and the family wants to send them off with a laptop, or your laptop is really just not going to make it till October. So the PC makers, who have had kind of a flat market, even a down market a little bit, are still bringing out, trying to bring out thin, light, powerful laptops. And I looked at two ends of the market, a more expensive one and a much less expensive one.
Right, and on the high end, you reviewed the Lenovo ThinkPad X1, which starts just shy of $1,400. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, it's called the X1 Carbon, and that's because a lot of it is made out of carbon fiber, which is, as strong as aluminum, but about a third the weight. And so the key on that machine was they managed to squeeze a 14-inch screen, and a very high-res 14-inch screen, into the weight and the dimensions of what you would normally expect in a 13-inch laptop, and that's pretty good. And ThinkPads are high-quality machines. I found this to be a high-quality machine, fast, light, easy to carry.
But you were a little disappointed with the battery, though, right? The battery life?
The battery really it's kind of a bummer when you're paying that much for that brand. In my battery test, which is harder than the ones the manufacturers typically use, it only got 4 hours, and to me that means that in normal use, when you weren't doing my battery test, you might get 5 hours out of it. They claim 6. Even if you got everything they claimed, it wouldn't be that sensational, but 5 is sort of mediocre. So I thought the battery life was mediocre. Otherwise, the keyboard is terrific. It's a very, very nice laptop.
At the other end of the spectrum, we reviewed the Hewlett-Packard NV6 Sleekbook, which starts at just under $600. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, it's also a good machine, and certainly for the price. It has a 15-inch screen. It actually has lower resolution than the other one. But there are compromises. It uses a much lower powered chip, a processor. It doesn't have flash storage. It has a regular hard disk, which gives you more capacity, but is slower. Overall, I felt that the machine performed a little more sluggishly than the Lenovo, and the touchpad wasn't as good. And it's a 4.5-pound machine, so that's not huge by historical standards, but it's still 50% heavier than the other one. On the other hand, it did better in the battery test.
It did better, and it had some ports that people can use to hook up their TV and
that's
internet.
right, and an Ethernet port. So You know, I think that those are two different markets, really, both in terms of your pocketbook and what you might want or need. And there's a lot of things in between as well. And you just can't forget that despite Windows 8, despite all the attractive Macs out there, which I also recommend, there are some decent Windows notebooks out there now for people who can't wait till October.
Given that they do compete in two different markets, so comparing them to each other, it may be a bit unfair. Based on their competitors that are already out there, how do these laptops stack up with other high-end or low-end Windows laptops that are available?
Well, you know, I just haven't reviewed them against a whole large group, particularly on the low end. On the high end, I think this X1 Carbon is an excellent machine. On balance, if you didn't need the 14-inch screen, if you were okay with 13, and you were okay, and you weren't, you know, insistent on Windows, I still think the MacBook Air is probably the best all-around laptop I know of on the market.
Any sense of how easy it will be to transition any laptop you get now to the new operating system come October?
I don't have any sense of that. Microsoft has worked on trying to make that transition as solid as possible, and these companies have had plenty of time to test preview releases of Windows 8 to make sure. I did not try to upgrade these machines. I tend to test products as they come out of the box, so I didn't have the experience. I would say that upgrading to any operating system, and this includes the Mac as well as Windows, any new operating system, you can always get some surprises. But I really don't have the answer to that question. We are going to talk quite a bit about Windows 8 when the time comes, including the upgrade question, but not yet.
Thanks a lot, Walt. We really appreciate it. Of course, you can read more from Walt online at WSJ.com.